August 2019. Sitting in the Oval Office of the White House, US President Donald Trump expressed a strange desire to his advisors. He said, "I want to buy Greenland." Instantly, the news spread like wildfire across the globe. Laughter erupted on social media. Many thought it was just another one of Trump's jokes. But when Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen dismissed the idea as absurd, Trump became furious and even canceled his scheduled state visit to Denmark. And now, in 2026, Trump is threatening that if he doesn't get Greenland the easy way, he will take the hard road.
We are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not.
Just think about it. A massive island of 2.1 million square kilometers. Can that really be a subject of a real estate deal? Although geographically part of North America, this ice-covered island is owned by a tiny European country 3,000 kilometers away, Denmark. Where is Denmark and where is Greenland? In terms of size, Greenland is 50 times larger than Denmark. Yet, through a strange historical equation, this massive territory remains in the pocket of tiny Denmark. How did this vast North American island end up in the possession of a small European nation? We will try to find the answer to this question in today's episode. The story began 1,000 years ago with an exiled Viking named Eric the Red. Eric, a Norwegian Viking, was a man of extremely volatile temper. He had been exiled from Iceland for murder. In 982 AD, with his family and a few followers, he set sail into the unknown west of the Atlantic Ocean. After a long voyage, he reached a land that was covered in ice, rugged and uninhabitable. But Eric was cunning. He knew that to build a settlement here, he needed to bring more people from Iceland. But no one would want to come to a place called Iceland, or Land of Snow. So, he came up with a clever trick. Even though the entire island was covered in ice, he named it Greenland. Historians call this history's first marketing scam. Lured by Eric's false assurances, several hundred Vikings set sail with him on about 25 ships to this new land, though only 14 ships eventually made it. They established settlements on the southern coast of Greenland. For nearly 500 years, these Norsemen or Vikings survived there. They traded sealskin, walrus ivory, and polar bear hides with Europe. The Vatican Church even sent a bishop to them. But around the 15th century, the Vikings suddenly vanished from Greenland. What happened to them? Researchers believe that the onset of the Little Ice Age and conflicts with the local Inuit indigenous people wiped them out. Their connection with Europe was completely severed. For almost 300 years, Greenland lay hidden from the world stage, lonely and isolated. The people of Europe had forgotten that they ever had a settlement there. About 300 years after the Vikings disappeared in 1721, Europe's eyes turned toward Greenland once again. This time, the central character was a Danish-Norwegian priest named Hans Egede. At that time, Denmark and Norway were a united kingdom, or the Denmark-Norway Union. King Frederick IV in Copenhagen gave Hans Egede permission to go to Greenland. They assumed that the Vikings who had gone there centuries ago might still be alive and were still Catholics. The goal of this expedition was to convert them to Protestant Christianity. But upon reaching Greenland, Hans Egede was astonished. He found no Vikings. Instead, he found the local Inuit population. Even though the Vikings were gone, the King of Denmark claimed, "Since the Vikings were once our ancestors, this island belongs to us." Thus, in 1721, Denmark's colonial rule over Greenland began anew. But the real twist in the story came in 1814. During the Napoleonic Wars, Denmark was on Napoleon's side, the losing side. Sweden was on the winning side. After the war, the historic Treaty of Kiel was signed. In this treaty, the defeated Denmark was forced to hand over Norway to Sweden. But here, Danish diplomats played a brilliant move. In a subtle clause of the treaty, they noted that while Norway would become part of Sweden, Norway's old colonies in the Atlantic Ocean, Iceland, the Faroe Islands, and Greenland, would remain under Danish control. Sweden was so overjoyed at gaining Norway that they didn't pay attention to these ice-covered islands. And thus, with the stroke of a pen, despite being geographically close to Norway, Greenland became the property of Denmark. (1940). World War II has begun. Hitler's Nazi forces occupied Denmark in just a few hours. Sitting in Copenhagen, the Danish king and government essentially became puppets of the Nazis. At that time, across the Atlantic in Washington, the Danish ambassador was Henrik Kaufmann. He knew that after taking Denmark, Hitler's eyes would turn to Greenland. This was because it was very easy to send bombers to America and Canada from Greenland. Henrik Kaufmann made a daring decision. He defied the orders of his own government, that is, the German-controlled Danish government. He declared himself the representative of a free Denmark and signed a direct treaty with America. In that 1941 treaty, he told America, "Come to Greenland, establish bases, and protect this island from the Nazis." America was waiting for such an opportunity. They quickly sent troops to Greenland and built massive air bases. The most famous among them is the Thule Air Base. After the war, Denmark became independent, but America didn't want to leave Greenland. By then, a new war had started, the Cold War. To conduct surveillance on the Soviet Union, Greenland was a trump card for America. In 1946, then US President Harry Truman proposed to Denmark, "You aren't doing anything with this island of ice. Sell Greenland to us for $100 million. At that time, $100 million was a huge sum, but Denmark rejected the offer. They realized that Greenland was not just a pile of ice, it was their only key to maintaining importance in world politics. Because of Greenland, tiny Denmark gets the opportunity to sit at the same table with world leaders. After World War II, the winds of decolonization began to blow across the world. The United Nations started pressuring Denmark to grant independence to Greenland or give them equal rights. In 1953, Denmark changed its constitution. Greenland was no longer kept as a colony, but was declared a county or district of Denmark. The Inuits of Greenland became Danish citizens overnight and even got the opportunity to send representatives to the Danish parliament. But the people of Greenland were not satisfied. Their language, culture, and lifestyle were completely different from Denmark's. The residents of Nuuk, Greenland's capital, could not accept that their fate was being decided by people 3,500 kilometers away in Copenhagen. After a long movement, Greenland was granted home rule in 1979. And finally, in 2009, they were granted self-rule. Currently, the situation in Greenland is something like this. They have their own parliament, police, and can make independent decisions on all internal matters. But their foreign policy, defense, and monetary policy are controlled by Denmark. However, Denmark has to pay a heavy price for this. Every year, the Danish government gives Greenland a block grant of about $600 million. More than half of Greenland's total budget comes from this pocket money provided by Denmark. Analysts believe that Denmark holds on to Greenland despite this massive financial loss only to assert itself as an Arctic superpower. Without Greenland, Denmark is just an ordinary northern European country. But with Greenland, Denmark secures a powerful seat in important places like the Arctic Council. Now, the biggest question is, what do the people of Greenland want? The current Prime Minister of Greenland and the majority of the population dream of full independence. They want to lower the Danish flag and emerge as a completely independent nation. The 2009 Self-Rule Act even allows for this possibility. Greenland can declare independence through a referendum if they wish, but the problem is the economy. If Greenland becomes independent today, that $600 million grant from Denmark will stop tomorrow. Greenland's own economy is primarily dependent on fishing, which is not enough to run a modern state. To achieve independence, Greenland would have to turn toward extracting mineral resources. And this brings up a difficult dilemma or paradox. Digging mines will destroy the environment and disrupt the traditional Inuit way of life, which they do not want. But if they don't dig for mines, they remain slaves to Denmark's money. On the other hand, if Greenland becomes independent, can they defend themselves? Or will they fall into the clutches of a superpower like Russia or China? Many believe that if Greenland becomes independent, it will essentially turn into an undeclared colony of America, because NATO and America will never leave Greenland unguarded. For Denmark, Greenland is a heavy piece of jewelry, burdensome to wear, yet shameful to take off. And for America, Greenland is the world's largest unsinkable aircraft carrier. In this chess game of geopolitics, Greenland is now a crucial pawn. As the ice melts, the battle of superpowers surrounding this island heats up. The island that Hans Egede found neglected in 1721 has become the most coveted territory in the 21st century. Greenland is part of Denmark. This may be an accident of history, but holding on to it is now a question of existence for Denmark. And in that battle for existence, Trump's buy-sell offer is merely the beginning of a new chapter. Whether the color of Greenland on the map will change in the future, only time will tell. But one thing is certain. Buried beneath the white ice of the North Pole lies the most volatile gunpowder of future world politics.